What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rovardo, joined by my co-host, Alex Wilson. Spontaneously going live today just to talk some New York Giants with you all. It's going to be a quick live stream, probably around 30 minutes, but we wanted to get on here, preview this upcoming Week 8 matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but also really focus in past Week 8 and past even Week 17. Looking ahead to April and October, I hate to do it. It's not even Halloween yet. It's painful for me to have to look ahead to the NFL draft, but what choice do we have? We want to go ahead and react to some of these top quarterback prospects that have been lighting it up through the first early portion of the college football season. And one name in particular stands out among the rest. Cam freaking Ward, baby. We are big fans of Cam Ward, and we're excited to go ahead and talk about why he is the one college quarterback that the New York Giants should be keeping the closest eye on. Now, Alex, before I hand it over to you, I will go ahead and point out here that Assistant General Manager Brandon Brown of the New York Giants, he was at Colorado's practice yesterday, maybe getting a close-up look at Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, a different quarterback. So to me, what that indicated, the Giants are expecting to be picking high in this year's draft because the Colorado kids are expected to go high. And also maybe they are interested in getting an early look at some of these quarterbacks, getting a jump on that scouting process. Wouldn't shock me to see Brandon Brown, maybe Joe Shane, somebody go ahead and take a little trip over to Miami near me, go get a look at Cam Ward, maybe at one of those games or practices in the near future. So lots to unpack here. I'm excited to go ahead and discuss it with you and with the people in the chat. Alex, how are you doing today, my friend? And what is it about Cam Ward that's got you riled up on this Wednesday afternoon?
I'm doing great. And to everyone in the chat, how's it going? A lot of people didn't probably expect us to go live today, but you know what? It's been a pretty emotional week, Anthony. I think you can agree. Crashing out Anthony's episode, definitely losing his cool for the first time in a while. Usually I'm the one losing the cool in these podcasts, but the truth is that I think we've kind of all had it. We're kind of done with the same old BS the Giants put out there every week, the same old storylines, and now it's just survival of the fittest. You know, this feels like it looks like we're playing a game of Survivor, like who can last the longest being a Giants fan right now. And look, we're all here forever, we're all here for good. The truth is they're making it really damn hard to root for this team every single week. And right now, if you're a Giants fan, looking at this team, looking at the future of this club, we just don't know where it's going. This rookie class has been excellent. This rookie class has been exciting, but everything else aside from Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and a couple other guys, I just truthfully don't really see the optimism aside from some specific players here, but notably the quarterback position. We see what a quarterback can do to a team. We see what a guy like Jaden Daniels can do to a team like the Washington Commanders, a bottom barrel organization, a bottom barrel team now back in the mix here as one of the best teams in football because of their quarterback difference. And look, the Giants have to move on from Daniel Jones. I'm in the process of writing an article, and you're going to love this title: 19 million reasons the Giants have to move on from Daniel Jones, because if he gets injured, they have to pay him that extra money because his cap hit becomes guaranteed. Anthony, I know you're not looking forward to that reality, and not having a left tackle right now and Josh Azidu being that guy. I just don't see how you can risk it. I don't see how you can walk out a guy like Josh Azidu and you're putting so much risk on Daniel Jones's health. I can't justify it.
Dude, if you thought I crashed out hard in the episode a couple days ago, if Daniel Jones gets injured and we have to pay that injury clause, it's probably going to look like a nuke went off in my head. I'm going to crash out in the scariest, most unimaginable way possible. I got to bring up a few of the comments in the chat. First of all, I'm glad you guys enjoyed my pain. I really am. Everybody seemed to love it. They loved my pain, and I do appreciate it. Ian with the super chat. Thank you so much, Ian. Loyal follower of Fireside Giants. I don't know if I can read this whole comment out loud, Alex, but I'm going to read as much of it as I can. What up, man? Cam Ward and Shedeur, only ones that are first rounders to me, but Cam Ward does something a little bit scary to Ian that I'm not going to read out loud. Thoughts on just his aura alone? Oh, it's there. Oh, he's got that aura. I love it. I love Cam Ward. I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of him when he was at Washington State. I thought that he had aura. He had that drip. He made Ian drip. And I'm excited for Cam Ward in the future of the NFL. Alex, thoughts on Cam Ward's aura?
Well, you know, Ian, I respect. Well, first of all, thank you for the generous donation. My response to him may not be as fruitful as yours, but nonetheless, it is certainly exciting to watch him play the game of football. That throw last week he had, look, I know they rushed through. Louisville only rushed 3 guys on him. He had all this time in the pocket. They had everyone in coverage, maybe 9 guys in coverage. And he managed to maneuver to a spot where he was able to make a throw across his body, downfield 30 yards in the corner of the end zone on a dime. And I was sitting there looking like, okay, that was an NFL throw, right? That was an NFL caliber throw. That wasn't just an NFL caliber throw. That was the type of throw I've seen very few quarterbacks in the NFL make. We're talking of the elite caliber make a throw like that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That type of stuff translates. Now, I'm not saying that Cam Ward is a perfect prospect. He's far from it. In fact, if he was in last year's draft class, or maybe we're talking about him as QB4, QB5, like we don't know really where he'd stand in that draft class. But the Giants may want to do something like the Patriots have done with Drake May next year. Have a bridge, a guy that kind of starts the first couple games, and then let Cam Ward prepare for the transition. They don't have to rush it. They don't have to throw him into the fire. They can be careful with this. But that's assuming we even get Cam Ward, right? Like, he is one of my favorite quarterback prospects. There are other guys. I know people have been asking us to look at guys like Drew Allar and obviously, Greg, what's his name? Nussmeier. Was that his last name?
Nussmeier. Let's get on the Nuss bus, baby.
So, Nussmeier is an interesting player, really, really interesting player. He's comes from a long lineage of NFL players, and at the same time, the guy maneuvers in the pocket really, really well. Just go watch him. He's an interesting player. He is not afraid to take the risk he throws. He's aggressive. I did like him a lot when I was watching him over the last couple of weeks, but Cam Ward is a little bit different. His mobility, obviously, people question that. He's a little bit better of a runner than people give him credit for. He can pick up some extra yards. He kind of has like Mahomes mobility where like you don't want him to run, but he can if he needs to, just to pick up some extra yards and, get the first downs and move the chains. Mahomes is kind of a sneaky quarterback on the move. I wouldn't say Cam Ward's sneaky in that sense, but he's a little bit more of like a heavier kind of straight line. He can pick up the yards if you need him to when all things break down. But he wants to stay behind the line of scrimmage. He wants to stay in the pocket. He wants to be throwing from the pocket. And I like that about him. He's very calm, very collected. And I think that gives him a lot of upside in the NFL because players like, a lot of people say like Jalen Milroe, right? They like Jalen Milroe. Well, he is the type of guy that the second his eyes drop, the second that he loses focus, second he doesn't see anyone open, he's taking off running. Cam Ward will find time, buy time in the pocket, and he will wait for guys to get open. He will make those throws under duress with, guys just, barreling down on him. The pass rushers are really in his face, and he's able to make those throws with discipline and with anticipation. Something that we have not seen Daniel Jones do throughout his career. Cam Ward is very decisive. The arm talent is obvious. I mean, he is a freaking frozen rope of a cannon on that thing. And I really do think that he has the arm for the NFL. He can make those outside hash throws. He can make those throws across the middle. He can do it on the move. He can throw across his body. He can do it off platform. Now, people are talking about Shedeur Sanders a lot in the chat right now. Shedeur Sanders, look, from a pure pocket passing perspective, he probably is one of, if not the best quarterback in this draft class. From a talent perspective, he's not the best runner in the world. He can do it, but you don't want him to all the time. A little bit smaller, but I will say this. He is the type of guy that needs to go to a small market team that has some upside, has some potential. Maybe like, I'd even say Vegas might be a good spot for him. The Giants are not a good spot for a place like Shedeur Sanders. Why? If you think that Shedeur Sanders is a good player, wait until he starts to blame his offensive line. Wait until he starts to blame the drops. Wait until he starts to start blaming the play calling, and everything turns against him in year one. Like, you just can't trust a player like this. He's not going to last in a New York media market. Think about guys that are already getting torn to shreds. Neighbors has been one of our best players. He's still getting crap, and he's still trying to escape these media sessions without saying anything that will incriminate him. And Shedeur Sanders is going to throw people under the bus. He's going to say things that hurt him. He's going to say things that make him the enemy in the kind of evil villain of Giants fandom. And I think that people have to recognize that. I don't know how you feel about that, Anthony. I'm terrified of him for that reason. His character scares me, but he is undeniably a really solid, player from a talent perspective. So, looking at, guys like Brandon Brown going to check it out, definitely an interesting thing to kind of watch him go speak to that team and see what they have to offer.
Yeah, no, I think it's very interesting to see the Giants getting an up-close personal scouting visit with Shedeur Sanders this early in the NFL regular season even. They're getting there and getting an eye on these quarterbacks so soon, which I think is the right move. You want to get as much information on quarterbacks as you possibly can. Any lack of information when it comes to the quarterback position, no matter how small you might think it is, that lack of information could totally come back and bite you once the NFL draft occurs. So I'm all for the Giants getting out there and getting on the road and taking a closer look at these quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders is the first one that we've seen. They're going to go look at Cam Ward. They're going to go look at the Nuss bus. They're going to get down to LSU and take a look at him. you already know that they're going to do their due diligence. They've done it every single year. They even went and scouted C.J. Stroud that season when they didn't have a single chance of drafting a quarterback in the top 5 picks. So, it's due diligence. That's really what it comes down to. And that's what we decided we wanted to call this series anyway. We wanted to call our quarterback scouting series due diligence, because whether the Giants draft a quarterback, sign a quarterback, trade for a quarterback, or run it back with Daniel Jones, we know that they got to do their due diligence and look at these quarterbacks. So we want to look at them too. And my take on Shedeur Sanders, Alex, it's not much different from yours. Great pocket passer, rocket launcher for an arm. He doesn't need his feet set. He could throw from any platform. He's a very smart passer. There's just other question marks about him. He's had a few run-ins with the media. That doesn't usually go well for New York Giants players. If you are touchy with the media, they like to make you their enemy and make it their personal mission to Pat Leonard you and get you pushed out of the state. So it does just make me afraid. Not because I don't like Shedeur Sanders' personality. I actually enjoy a quarterback with personality. I just know that there are beat writers who cover the Giants that don't, and that might become problem. So it's not a Shedeur Sanders problem. It's a New York media problem more than anything.
Yeah, and I'll also point out that the Giants, when we watched Hard Knocks, they color code their players, and we were able, they were easily able to decipher which guys had character concerns based on the color coordination of it. You better believe that Shedeur Sanders is going to have his own damn color, because that he is not a guy that you want, especially with the Giants' offensive line problems. If they have a couple games where the offensive line is bad, he is going to say something about them, and he is going to lose the locker room in terms of the leadership that he commands. It's going to happen fast. Look, like losing in New York, it's not like losing in anywhere else. It's not like losing in Denver. It's not like losing in Jacksonville. It's not like losing in Washington, in Cleveland. Nobody gives a rat's ass. They're used to it. The Giants, now we're used to it, to be quite honest with you, but more importantly, the media is not going to take well to that. And I know I saw before I address Joe Africano, appreciate the donation, of course, and I'm going to get your comment in a second here. Passing on Sanders because it's an attention magnet would be silly. This is not an attention magnet we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who turns bad situations into worse situations. That is not attention. That is making it about himself. That is about making it about himself and not the team, and not doing the right things in the NFL to protect your teammates, be a professional. Can he be a professional in the most hostile media market on earth? I don't think so. He has not proven to do it in Colorado, where nobody gives a shit. So if he can't do it in Colorado, how the hell is he going to do it in New York? That's what I would question.
To be fair, a lot of his comments are so widely publicized because Colorado is so... It is very niche. It's, but he's Deion Sanders' son, and Deion Sanders is a coach of that team. So they have a market that is pretty vast. Yeah, it's huge. Like, everybody keeps an eye on everything that they do at Colorado because of that. So it is a small market in Colorado, technically, but realistically, it's the Sanders market. So no matter where he goes, he's going to draw an audience, and he's going to have the spotlight shining on him brighter than most players. Joe Africano asks a good question here. You kind of alluded to the answer to this earlier, Alex. Do you think either of them can play right now? I think Cam could use at least a few weeks to sit and learn, obviously referring to Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Here's my thing with Shedeur. It kind of ties into that Deion Sanders thing, Alex. I don't know if he's going to want to sit. I think he's going to want to get out there and play immediately, and I think Deion's going to want the same thing. This is the thing. It's kind of like, remember LeVar Ball and LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball, when the father was so involved and it just became a media spectacle, so unrealistic expectations were handed out to all of those sons. It's like the expectations for Shedeur Sanders, as soon as he gets in the NFL, transform the team, rebuild the roster overnight, become an immediate superstar. If that doesn't happen and expectations aren't met in New York, things do get ugly. So even if he's not ready to play right away, he's probably going to play right away. So there are concerns with that. And that's the part of this that sucks, because I think Shedeur Sanders is incredibly talented, and I think he would be an awesome player for the New York Giants. But the fact that we have to go through and talk about how toxic this fan base can be, and even the beat writers can be, and we have to talk about everything that's not having to do with football about Shedeur Sanders, that just sucks to me, because I just want to draft the best football players and let them go win football games. And he damn well might be the best football player at the quarterback position in this draft. But there are just other variables that you have to consider, and I hate that. I think he also does need to sit. He's playing at Colorado. He's not playing in the SEC like a lot of these other prospects. He's not even playing in the ACC. All the way over in Colorado, it's a different level of competition. Once he makes the college football playoffs, if he does, then we can maybe talk about him being a day one starter. But until he plays at that level of competition, I do think that he needs to sit, learn, and grow. And for what it's worth, a lot of players who did play in college football playoffs, played at huge schools, sat, learned and then grew and then took over starters and had very successful careers. We see it all the time. You don't have to be from a small school to be required to sit and learn for a while. You can play at a big school. There's nothing wrong with being patient with a quarterback prospect, taking time and waiting to plug them into the starting lineup. And I think the same goes for Cam Ward. The positive for Cam Ward, though, Alex, is that he's been a starter across 2 teams in 3 seasons now. He does have a solid amount of starting experience under his belt. 2 seasons at Washington State, and now this season with Miami. So he's faced multiple different levels of competition. Last year, when he was playing for Washington State, rivalry game against Washington, had an awesome performance, went toe-to-toe with Michael Penix. That was a game where you could say, okay, that kid probably can hang in the NFL. He just needs a little bit more time to develop. And I think Cam Ward is getting a lot of that development right now since he went back to school, decided not to declare. That was huge. But even still, if he's a top draft pick, got to have a bridge quarterback along with him. I'm always a proponent of this no matter how day one impact the player might be. Even if it's Caleb Williams, I don't think it hurts to have a quarterback prospect sit behind a veteran and let them learn for a while. So that's my take on it. I'm always a proponent of a bridge. I think it can only help you. It can't really hurt you, in my opinion, to let the kid take his time to learn and grow. Alex, before we get on to the next super chat, do you have any take on that? Should both of those players be candidates to sit for a while?
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't have to be a while. It just has to be enough time that the Giants feel comfortable putting him in there with, also it depends. Like you guys, Anthony and I have talked multiple times about who would be the bridge next year. And we kept, unfortunately, coming back to the same kind of situation, saying that, okay, if the Giants let Daniel Jones go, and this is going to piss you off because it pissed me off in real time. But if the Giants let Daniel Jones go, they save $19 million, right? That's how much they save. However, they can restructure the contract to pay the dead money, which is $22 million over the final 2 years of that deal. Theoretically, they can save about $30 million by cutting Daniel Jones. They can spread that money out over 2 years. They pay $10 million 1 year and $10 million the next year. Now, when it comes to a bridge quarterback, if you go get like a Sam Darnold, who's on a 1 year, $10 million deal right now, he's going to cost more. Why? Well, he's playing like an MVP right now. So there's that. You're going to have to pay Sam Darnold. I think he kind of comes back down to the mean of his career. I don't think he's necessarily going to be like elite by any means in the future, but I do think end of the day, Sam Darnold will not be in our price range. Tyrod Taylor would have been a great bridge for us. So like that kind of annoyed me. I think we should have probably extended him on a 2 year deal just to be the backup. He would have been a perfect bridge for a young player like a Cam Ward.
Perfect.
Absolutely perfect. Now the Jets have him on a 2 year deal, I believe. So he is not available either. The quarterback options next year are very, very, very bad in terms of bridges. Now the alternative is, and this is where everyone's going to get really upset. And I want to make it very clear. I hate this option too. I despise it. You keep Daniel Jones, you pay him the $22 million in dead money, or you pay him the cap hit, and you can always cut him and you can save the money. Yet the box cutter's out. I understand. I don't want to go down that route. In fact, I think, like as I said in the podcast 2 days ago, if I was in an ancient Mayan civilization and I needed a good crop, season, I would rid Daniel Jones of the society because he is a bad omen in the organization right now. We have been losing for 6 years, aside from the one anomaly, that being that 2022 season. It is time to move on from Daniel Jones because we are a losing football team with him, and we all acknowledge that now. I think even the truthers have come around to acknowledge that we're not putting up enough points, we're not competitive enough, and it's absolutely done. The Matthew Stafford stuff has to be put to bed. It's not happening. They're getting Cooper Kupp back this week. They're a good football team, just banged up. It's not happening. Now, Anthony, I don't know who's going to be the bridge quarterback. It's a discussion for another day. It's something that we'll have to deal with in the future, but Daniel Jones has to go.
Down
maybe.
the road.
And listen, give me Jameis Winston as a bridge. Give me Jameis Winston as a bridge. I would be so good with that. Someone just said his name. I had to say Mariota, even fine with that. Jameis Winston, even more fine with that. He's a decent quarterback, he's a better version of Jacoby Brissett in terms of a bridge. I'm fine with that. Give me him over, and then Cam Ward sitting behind him for a couple weeks. If they need to make the change, they make the change. It's natural. It's organic. It makes sense. They don't throw him into the fire. He's able to learn. The pressure's not on him from day one. Let a guy like Cam Ward go through training camp knowing that he's not expected to be the number one option immediately. All that pressure's not on him. All he has to do is sit, learn, prepare, and take over the job. I think that's exactly how the Giants should go about it. I think you probably are in lockstep with that opinion, though.
Yes, I agree. I think the Giants should sign a bridge. They should cut Daniel Jones no matter what. I don't care about the money. Just get him off the team and reset. That's what's important here is that the culture of Giants fans needs to be reset. We got to move on for the betterment of the culture. That's literally what it comes down to. Take the $20 million or $19 million, whatever it is, and run with it. Just move on, start a new era. Bring in a bridge quarterback, whether it's a guy like a Drew Lock, if you want to make him a 1-year, $5 million contract starter, I don't care. Reset with a rookie quarterback and a bridge and just move forward and rebuild this team no matter who the head coach is. Got to get on to the super chat from Where is A-Rod? A-Rod is actually sitting on the bench with a hurt calf, a hurt ankle, and a hurt hamstring if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe what's going on over there for the New York Jets. But I wanted to bring up this comment first and foremost to say thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. But also, maybe I'm biased, LSU fan, as am I, but Nussmeier would look great in a Dable offense. And I have to say, I 100% agree with you. If you go ahead and you watch this kid play, he plays like Josh Allen. Now, here are some concerns. I'm just going to throw him right out there. He does not have a ton of experience. This is his first season as a starter. There are stats that show quarterbacks who only have one season starting under their belt in college really do struggle once they get into the NFL. It takes a while for those guys to develop. Can the Giants wait for a guy to develop? Can they give Dable enough time? I'm not entirely sure because even though we're talking about guys like Cam Ward probably needs a few weeks before he gets into the lineup. Nussmeier maybe needs a full season before he gets into an NFL starting lineup because he really lacks the experience. This is his only season as a starter. Now, a couple other things to be concerned about. On top of him not having a lot of starting experience, he's also playing at LSU, best offensive line in the SEC, maybe the best group of playmakers in the SEC as well. That's a little bit debatable. Alabama's got some serious weapons, but he is playing with a lot of talent around him. So how good is he, or how good are the people making him look? That is a question mark. But to me, look at the way he plays. Alex, this is a stat I know that you're going to love. He's been sacked once this season. That's it. You probably don't love that because that tells you his offensive line is way too good. But if you actually look at it, he has been pressured, but he has not taken a sack from the offensive line, attributing it. He has a 1.5% pressure to sack ratio. That is unheard of. I don't care what level of football you're playing, middle school, high school, flag football, college, or NFL, 1.5% pressure to sack ratio shows that you are an extremely quick processor, you're a gunslinger, you got a quick release, and you just know how to keep the ball from getting on the ground. You know how to get it out of your hands and not take sacks. And that is so hugely important because the number one thing with Daniel Jones is every single year, his pressure to sack rate is among the highest in the NFL. Once he gets pressured, he turtles, he holds onto the football, he falls to the ground, and he takes sacks. He doesn't get the ball out of his hands. Nussmeier, the reason I like him so much, that ball comes out of his hand, and it comes out with some freaking velocity, dude. He is not afraid to sling that thing into tight windows. Yeah, he makes some mistakes. It's because of his lack of experience, but all of the tools and traits are there for a Brian Dable offense. Like Where's A-Rod is saying, this kid, if he had another year under his belt and then was going into the draft this year, he'd probably be the number one pick because he has every tool and every trait that you need from a quarterback. He just hasn't demonstrated that he can repeat his success from this season. He just hasn't done it long enough. But he has also sat behind Jaden Daniels, and he was a teammate of Malik Neighbors. So added connections. Bring him home, baby. Let him throw to Malik Neighbors. Let him set records with Neighbors. I'm trying to see it. I'm all the way on the Nuss bus. In fact, I am driving the Nuss bus from Louisiana to New York. Get on the road trip with me, brothers. Let's bring Garrett Nussmeier to the Giants. Maybe I'm being a little bit too hyperbolic, but I do really like the kid and think he would be awesome for Brian Dable.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that Nussmeier is the perfect, you lose Cam Ward, you lose out on Cam Ward, you take him like second round. I don't think Nussmeier is a first round pick, personally. Maybe he will be by the time the draft comes around. It's possible.
Hey, if he
it's
balls
possible.
out in the college football playoffs or something, he could shoot up.
He could, absolutely. But I want to pinpoint one thing that you said earlier is that he has a stupendous amount of support, right? Like unbelievable offensive line, great playmakers, great coaching. Like he's got it all. Can you survive in an NFL atmosphere where the coverage is tighter? The time to pressure is like, that stat was phenomenal. However, the time for him to actually get pressured is what I want to know, because in the NFL, he's going to get pressured a lot faster. So he's going to have to make more decisive throws in tighter windows with better coverage. That's where you have to project. I don't think he's anywhere close to that yet. So I would easily say like, this is a second round player in my mind. If you miss it on Cam Ward, not a bad idea to go BPA and then try to get a Nussmeier in the second round. And this is the type of guy, like you said, he needs a year of development. He has to be sitting there with a Winston at quarterback for a full season, or whoever the hell the Giants want to go with. That's not my decision. That's their problem. But he needs a lot of growth, a lot of time to develop, and he's a ton of experience. A guy that, like, you're getting blown out, you put him in there for the last quarter on multiple occasions, most likely, because the Giants are probably not going to be very good in that instance.
I actually have a stat here that you're going to like.
Another one.
Pretty good.
Ooh,
it answers your question. I went immediately over to PFF and found the answer to your question. He has the third lowest average time to throw in the SEC right now. So he's not just standing in the pocket. Yeah, he's not. It's not like he's just standing there with perfect pass protection. He's straight up just getting the ball out of his hands quicker than everybody except for Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck.
Okay, so we like that. That's a good stat. So that indicates he's getting the ball fast out of his hands. So that's kind of aligns exactly with what you'd want to see at the NFL level, is decisive. And the one word I like that you use is gunslinger. He is a very, very aggressive quarterback. He takes shots, and you'll see the throws he makes. You're like, all right, anticipation check, aggressiveness check, arm talent check, strength check. It's all there. The only problem is he is slow as molasses, dude. He can't move. He can move in the pocket, but he is not a runner.
You don't think he's got some of that Joey Burrow?
No, I don't actually. I don't think so. Unless you're the Giants and you're literally just ignoring the entire right side of the football field, I don't think he's got a little.
Well, Joe Burrow isn't fast. That was the anomaly of his entire career, that touchdown run.
Absolutely.
You don't think that Nussmeier can maybe be a little bit mobile in the pocket? Because that's one of the things
he is.
that Burrow's really good
and that's
at.
what I
like
said.
That.
He maneuvers himself in the pocket really, really well, which I love, because Daniel Jones in the pocket is like, it's like watching someone with blindfold on being punched in the face and then asking to go do the dizzy bat. There's nothing there. He can't move. He's a robot. The dropbacks are horrible. His footwork is horrible. There's nothing there for you to actually build on. With Nussmeier, there's a foundation there, that there is something to build on there for sure.
There is. And I just wanted to bring up Joe Burrow because the similarities are obvious. Played at LSU, had one season as a starter, and it was a historically good one with a ton of talent around him, but still ended up being the number one overall pick. I mean, this is why I'm bringing up Burrow and Nussmeier. It's not just the LSU thing, but going into this season, Nussmeier wasn't even on the NFL draft boards. Going into that 2021 season, neither was Joe Burrow, or was it 2020? Whatever. It doesn't matter when it was. Neither was Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow ends up having a Heisman campaign, a record-breaking season in the SEC. Same thing as Jaden Daniels, but it's just more similar because Nussmeier isn't a rusher. So he's got that Joe Burrow athleticism, so I think it's a more one-to-one comparison. But he had 1 year of starting experience. It was an incredible, historic year, and he was playing in the SEC with Jamar Chase, all of these incredible talents all around him. That LSU team was absolutely stacked, end up winning the national championship. Now, what if Garrett Nussmeier does the exact same thing? What if and again, it's projection, it's hypothetical, so you can't really put stock into the hypothetical. But what if he ends up having a just truly incredible record-breaking season? I mean, he's already thrown 18 touchdown passes in 7 games. Who's to say he can't put up 40 to 50 by the time the season's over, win some games in the college football playoffs, and boom, now we're talking about another LSU quarterback going in the top 5, even though he's got all that talent around him. Jaden Daniels had talent around him too. So I actually do see a path here for Nussmeier to end up being a top pick. If he is a second-round pick, I'm absolutely taking that flyer. Hell freaking yes, dude. I'm with you. Take the BPA in the first. Take Nussmeier in the second. You know what? F it. Trade up from the second into the back end of the first like Lamar Jackson and take Nussmeier if that's what you want to do. And that actually leads me to the next super chat from Pete Cho. Perfect segue. He said Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Eli Manning all sat before playing and had or are having great careers, especially in a big market like New York. If they start right away, the New York media will destroy their career. Pete Cho, big super chat. Thank you so much. And I'm going to throw another name in there. Lamar Jackson. He also sat before starting. So you could find Josh Allen. There are so many examples of guys who sat for a little while and then started, and it helped them so much in the beginning of their career. Because when you just throw someone out there to the Wolves in week 1, could you imagine, Alex, if the Giants did draft a rookie and their first matchup was against that Vikings Brian Flores defense in week 1? Man, it was a shit show and a disaster with Daniel Jones. Could have been even worse with a rookie. I don't know if that's possible, actually, but it could have been. You never know. So I'm a huge proponent. I'm in total agreement with Pete. He brings up a bunch of names right here who sat before having great careers. I can bring up like 5 more if I really wanted to. Look at all the top quarterbacks in the NFL. The majority of them did sit before they took over as the starters. So I'm with you, Pete. Alex, I'm sure that you're in agreement.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, you need to have a bridge for a couple of weeks, if not like as long as humanly possible, before you transition to a young player. And I'm cool with that, man. Like, listen, I know people want to like throw the young quarterback into the fold immediately. They want to throw him into the fire. They want to see if he survives. They want to see if he drowns or if he floats. Like, I get that want and that desire, but I would so much rather have a young Cam Ward sitting there for 6 weeks or a couple weeks, waiting for his time, waiting for his chance to shine, than watch Daniel Jones for another fucking second. Okay, he is taking this team absolutely nowhere. We are stuck in quicksand right now. We are in purgatory. This team is going nowhere with him. And at least I need a sense of hope. And I'm sorry for cursing. I really am, because I don't want to, but it just brings the worst out in me every single time. Because you just watch the missed throws, you watch the pressures he creates by himself, you watch the off platform, you watch his arm. The arm talent's dead. His arm is a noodle. He can't throw the ball downfield. And when he does, it's into triple coverage to Malik Neighbors on 3rd and short. Like, you just don't see the upside anymore. The hope is dead. It's gone. So, Pete, I agree with you. Give a young guy like Cam Ward a chance to sit for a couple weeks, if not as long as you can muster it. And then you inject him into the equation with chemistry developing in practice, with an understanding of the offense, a system built around him. You know what? You look at guys like Brock Purdy is a perfect example, Anthony. Is Brock Purdy great because he's a great player? Not necessarily. He's great because he is in a perfect. No, I'm not saying Brock Purdy is not a great player. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. But the reason he was able to take to that team so well, the reason he was able to take to that offense so well is because they built a system that worked so well for him. Right? They built a really great system that was around his strengths. They had a great offensive line, a great running game, multiple receiving threats. They built a system around him that was for the quarterback, that was really, emphasizing his strengths and covering up a lot of his weaknesses as a young, undersized, short quarterback. They covered up a lot of his problems. The Giants managed to extrapolate on Daniel Jones's weaknesses every week. Right? They managed to make his weaknesses the forefront of every game at times. And it pisses me off because his strengths are far and few in between. He can't throw the deep ball anymore. He can't throw to the middle of the field. He's running the football, taking hits that scare the freaking bejesus out of me. Every time he gets hit, I think he's done for the year. And like, it's terrifying. You got to move on because we got to protect ourselves. You got to bench him because there's 19 million freaking reasons to do so.
But he's a nice person.
And I have nothing wrong with Daniel Jones. He's a fine dude. He's a good dude, man. Like,
you can't bench a nice person.
He's a nice person. He's a great work ethic. But the truth is simple, man. We are not winning football games. In football, you talk about players say it's a business. You get traded, you get moved, things happen, you hold out. NFL's a business, man. And the Giants are treating this like a boys' club. The Giants are treating it like they don't owe Daniel Jones anything except for $40 million. But that's another story.
2 quotes that I've been saying for months. Number one, it's no longer good enough for Daniel Jones to be good enough. That's been my trademark all throughout this season and offseason, right? What's number 2, Alex? Hire slowly, fire quickly. There's no reason Daniel Jones should still be out there in week 8. He should have been fired by now. Should have been put onto the bench. He hasn't been getting the results. It's all true. I'm so tired of it. I don't even want to say Daniel Jones' name again. Philip Santana, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. Didn't leave a comment, but if you left one and we missed it, just make sure to send it again. We'll go ahead and find it and bring it up for you. Formula Red here with a super chat. Much appreciated. This is pretty bad where we are at. Yeah, I absolutely agree. But I don't think it gets any lower than the joke judge regime. We were in the deepest, darkest crevice of hell. So as we kind of wind out this live stream, I think this is a pretty fun one to answer as one of the last questions, Alex. The joke of the judge regime, I was kind of the butt of the joke. I was a big Joe Judge fan. That's something that you're not allowed to go look back on this channel and find how much of a Joe Judge fan I was. Okay. You're not allowed to pull the receipts on me. I'm exonerated. Okay. I was still in high school. Okay. Don't pick on me too hard. But no, yeah, that was a joke. But you know what? At the end of the day, the part of the judge regime that I can appreciate, Alex, and I don't know how you feel about this, guy had some personality. He really did get us to buy in and believe that Giants winning football was coming back. So take away all of the wins and losses and take away the wins and losses for Dable and Shermer. Just throw out there the likability of the guy when he first got in the building, the passion that he drove into the fan base. Just give credit to Joe Judge for that. At least he gave us some hope for a little bit. It didn't culminate in wins. It never translated to the. It didn't translate to the field. Yeah, well, somebody sent the super chat and brought him up. It didn't translate to wins, but at the end of the day, at the very least, I can respect the guy for trying his ass off. He at least tried, and sometimes I felt like Pat Shermer wasn't trying. So,
Listen, trying, not trying. All I see is L's, bro. All I see is
agree.
L, 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 L.
Hey, brother,
L,
I had to answer the
L.
question. I had
And then,
to.
and it's L, Daniel Jones, L, Daniel. Daniel Jones is the only freaking thing that's been the consistent through this entire process.
Common denominator.
The common denominator of a 6-year, more like a 10-year rebuild, 6 of them being with him. And listen, I'm just over it, man. I'm done. I'm tired of watching this team stall. I'm tired of watching this team. I have zero hope. He has a great work ethic. Shows up early, leaves late. I don't give a shit. Look, it doesn't matter. And I think this is the thing. If you show up early and leave late and still don't do a good job, I don't give a shit what time you go up. If you come in late and you leave early, but you do a better job than the guy that comes in early and leaves late, I don't give a shit when you show up. You could show up at 11 a.m.
Bro.
You could show up at 11 a.m. and leave at 2. But if you're winning football games, I don't give a rat's ass what time you show up. That's the truth. That's the truth.
I'm with you.
As long as you're not a problem in the locker room, that's a different story. It's a whole different argument. But like, I don't care about this work ethic bullshit anymore because it does not translate to wins. It doesn't, right? It's a facade. It's a narrative. It's a justification for failure.
But we are so dancing around to Eli Manning, isn't he?
Like, right. But here's the thing. Like, we are so down bad that we don't even remember what competency looks like. We don't even know. Like, we are so down bad that we have people saying free Daniel Jones, despite that fact he hasn't thrown a touchdown in MetLife in years. Like, give me a break,
free
man.
Me.
It's not not you, but other people I see on Twitter all the time. Free Daniel Jones.
No, I know. Free me from Daniel Jones.
Free us, bro.
Help
We're
us.
In chains. We are chained up in solitary confinement as a fan base right now, and we're all, I think we're all on the same page at this point in time. And we watched Lamar Jackson go out and score 5 touchdowns like last week. Like a 4 touchdowns
every week
in prime time. It's over. The story is written. It's in the scripture. Like, man, I'm pretty sure the Bible says Daniel Jones was out in 2025. I didn't write it, but somebody did. This is just the way it has to go. Like, it's over. It's done. Drew Lock. Okay, yeah, Daniel Jones gives us a better chance at winning, according to Brian Dable. According to Brian Dable, if 3 points is what a better chance looks like, I am in hell, bro. I don't know what I did to get here in a past life, but I am in hell right now if that's the case. If he's the best chance we have at winning football games.
Dude, I'm actually going to push back to something that I said. I just said but Daniel Jones is so similar to Eli Manning, because we used to hear that narrative all the time. I don't think we hear it quite as much anymore, but everybody's like, oh, he's so going to be the next Eli. He behaves just like him. I got to push back against that. Look at the NFL media career, the sports broadcasting career that Eli Manning has right now. Daniel Jones is not even capable of that in an iota of it. He's not even close. Eli always had that sauce, man. He was always in the commercials. He was always out and about. He was always doing media guest appearances. He was fun. He would pull pranks in the locker room. He would joke with the media. Daniel Jones has never been like Eli Manning, not even in a personality standpoint, not even in the work ethic standpoint. Nothing has been similar. All we've gotten was losing football. Everybody just keeps attaching to Daniel Jones because of the idea of what he could have been. But he just isn't what he could have been. And it's over. Time to move on. Anyway, I think this will be the last super chat that we bring up, and then we'll wrap this one out. Alex, Philip Santana, thank you so much. Another super chat. We really do appreciate you. Do you think DeVito could be a bridge QB for the next class? Also, been great being a part of the Fireside family for 5 years. Yes, sir, Philip. Thank you so much. 5 years and counting. Can't wait for the next 5. Hopefully this next 5 includes some actual New York Giants wins. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Could Tommy DeVito be a bridge quarterback? I don't know. Kid has a lot of growing to do. Like, just to be honest, you guys know me. I am the big Tommy DeVito fanboy. I'm all about the Tommy cutlets. Man, I make the Tony cutlets. I try and be just like Tommy D. But listen, at the end of the day, there are a lot of flaws in his game. I'd like to see him get on the field this season just because I want him to spark something, and I just want to watch something different than the 3 points that we keep seeing this offense produce under Daniel Jones. I think we could score more points than Tommy DeVito. Maybe we can't. He's probably not going to be able to step into a season next year as a week 1 starter and carry success through the first portion of the season. What you need with a bridge is somebody who is replacement level, but not like bad replacement level, like not somebody that you're in a rush to replace. Tommy DeVito, after 5 weeks, the Giants might rush to replace and throw a rookie in. We need somebody who can absolutely go in there, manage games, like Jimmy Garoppolo a few years ago, when he was able to just be a game manager, replacement level. That's who you want as a bridge. Tommy DeVito probably isn't that, but hey, who knows, man? He doesn't have a lot of starts under his belt. Maybe he starts some games towards the end of the season, Alex, throws 8 touchdown passes in 3 games. maybe he does become the bridge. Can't rule it out, but I will just say that it is unlikely. Alex, let me hear your take on it.
I mean, look, guys, if Tommy DeVito was ready to play in the NFL, he probably would be already. I mean, we saw him in the preseason. He just didn't look ready. He holds the ball for too long. He doesn't really, his eyes drop. He doesn't throw the ball. Like, he has a lot of the same problems that we see from Daniel Jones, in terms of just not getting rid of the ball fast enough. He's not as decisive at times. And I know he had a couple great games. He had a couple good games, and, all the credit to him. But I think that that's probably an anomaly in a much different system, in a much different sense. And I'm fine watching him play because I just don't want to see Daniel Jones anymore, and I'd rather see anybody else at this point in time just to protect ourselves from the contract situation and that guarantees. But at the end of the day, the Giants need an experienced player that is respected in the locker room, and I think Jameis Winston's a great option for that in terms of a bridge. You know what I mean? You bring in Jameis Winston next year as a bridge quarterback. He's a great locker room presence. He will help bring people together. He's a leader, and he will help a guy like Cam Ward stay calm, stay learning, stay developing. And I think that would be a perfect situation personally. I think that would be actually a really good, that would be my preference, to be quite honest with you. Jameis Winston and Cam Ward being in that room, and then Ward taking over naturally and through an organic kind of process. I think that really makes a lot of sense to me. But we'll see what happens. Like, a lot of teams need a quarterbacks, guys. There's a lot of teams out there that kind of suck right now. I mean, you could look at a ton of different clubs that are going to be in the market. Let's right off the bat, the Raiders need a quarterback. I could see the Broncos even moving on from Bo Nix, even though they just drafted him. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but he's bad. Like, let's not beat around the bush.
Saints could be in it.
The Saints could be in it. I mean, Derek Carr, they have to have a replacement for him one day. The Panthers could be back involved. The Titans hate Will Levi as a terrorist. Like, he's going to be replaced. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Browns, do they trust Deshaun Watson? Probably not. Like, they need players, man. Like, there's a lot of teams out there that need quarterbacks. The Giants, we may once again be in a situation where we can't get Cam Ward unless there's a team out there that's willing to trade down. And I don't know, like, right now, like, once again, as a Giants fan, like, I don't know what the future looks like. What I can say is that I don't care what happens next year. You have to take a quarterback. It doesn't matter where you pick, what it takes. You have to find somebody, because I even think that Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, assuming that they keep their jobs, understand that if they run Daniel Jones back out there next year, they're going to lose half this fan base. Like, people are just not going to watch. They're not going to watch. People aren't going to watch.
Straight up, people have lost half. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to give up their season tickets. They're going to not watch this game, not watch this product. Everyone knows that he has to go. And I think Joe Shane, they already tried to replace him once. They just failed. Now it's now or never, man. You got to move on. So they acknowledge that. You got to use that money. Go get a guy like DJ Reed in free agency, a nice receiver, maybe a guy up and coming. We'll see what happens in that regard, or even draft somebody. But we need another secondary piece. We need another cornerback, and I think DJ Reed would be perfect for the Giants in free agency. That $19 million would easily pay for him.
We need more aura. We need more players that are cool. We need players that are fun to watch. I'm tired of Daniel Jones, man. I need a quarterback with some sauce. I need somebody who I enjoy to watch, who's fun to listen to speak in the media. I need some aura here in New York, man. I don't care who it is, whatever, man. I think we're all in agreement that Daniel Jones' era is on its last leg. Let's see what he does on Monday night. If somehow he ends up pulling out an upset win against the Pittsburgh Steelers and TJ Watt, well, it's just delaying the inevitable, because inevitably he'll have a good performance 1 week. 2 weeks later, he's back to playing like shit, and then he's probably out of the lineup sooner or later after that. So it's all just delaying the inevitable. We know that this is on its last leg, and that leg already has a hairline fracture. So pretty much done with it, man. Really fun stream, though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Spontaneous stream, Alex. Unplanned, 350 people in here. No big deal. I love you guys. I love the Fireside Giants community. You guys are awesome. I hate the Giants a lot sometimes. I mean, I love the team forever. I hate them, but you know what? One thing I do love, I love having Fireside Giants, and I love having the Fireside Giants community on my side, man. It's awesome. Amount of support on my crash out the other day. Just incredible. Everybody who comments, everybody who super chats, all of you guys. Yeah, I like this. Therapy live. That's what we were doing. It was pretty much therapy for Alex and I today. Thank you guys for joining us in this one. Really do appreciate it, as always. Stay tuned for more live streams on the channel. Check out Giants Collective. I'll be live on there tonight with Bad Dog, Chris the Entertainer, and NYG Fangirl Adriana. We've got some really awesome topics to discuss in tonight's live stream as well. It's partnered with BetUS, so go ahead, check that out. Also, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and like I said, stay tuned to the channel. Content never slows down here at Fireside Giants. Once again, thank you all so much. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. Comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. Go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. Without further ado, we'll catch you all on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.